Hey guys and gals, this is Nathan. Welcome back to another episode of Comic Book Coloring 101. And this is going to be episode number 7, where we're taking everything that we learned before, from the lassos, from your flats to blending colors, the color wheel, picking colors and stuff, and then even like the last episode, punching up your colors. We're going to take all that and finally start to combine it all together. First one we're going to conquer today, I think is the main one everybody wants to see, is the using the lasso and airbrush technique. So we have our circle here, and let's see, let's get a nice soft airbrush going. And the one that I just have it up here so it's a lot faster, so I don't have to go into my presets, and it's just going to be, one of your basic round brushes. So you can see there's no hardness on it. Spacing is about 25. This one here, I don't like this one. This is kind of directional. Let me see. Yeah, let me just go back up to mine that I have. Oops, not a cloud, a soft brush. So we're gonna have our shape. I have it locked here, but you can just go ahead and make a selection however you want. This would be like our mid-tone. Usually, I'll start with the actual color I want something. So like Spider-Man, I'll have it red, but then I'll go ahead and darken it up and desaturate it a little bit. Let's see if this is going to be, like his natural color. Just go ahead and desaturate it, and that way there, like our shadows are going to be like this nicer, darker color. And then I'll go in a little bit. Oops. So I guess I got this one here, a little mid-tone here. And just kind of do like a little bit of airbrush in there. And again, you're letting your tablet or your Cintiq, whatever you might be working on, do most of the work with the pressure sensitivity. Again, I just have my opacity at 100% and my flow at 30%. For me, I don't know, it's just the way I like it. It's not saying you guys have to do it that way. The great thing about Photoshop is there's 20 million different ways to do one thing. Well, it's probably an exaggeration, but a lot of different ways to accomplish the same type of look. So just kind of indicating here like where the light source is going to be. I'll just go in. It doesn't have to be perfect, and then a little bit more. So you can kind of see, this edge right here. Oops, let me get my lasso tool so you guys can see it a little bit better. Where I went in a little bit more with that same color. And it's just going to help us like blend it a lot nicer. So, just draw another circle there. And just punching up the color a little bit more, lighting it up a little bit more as well. And again, you could see where my lasso selection is right there. A little bit smaller. It's a tedious process, but that's how you're going to get your colors to blend really nice. I'm just going to go up a little bit more, a little bit brighter. Oops. And maybe we'll also start maybe introducing like a little bit of orange into it for our highlight's going to be. So you're just kind of building up, layer upon layer. Then maybe on this one here, we'll just do like a nice big specular highlight. So you can see how that works. And then on the other side, just do a real quick selection on it. We can just kind of introduce like a little bit of a rim light on it. So you guys see how that works. And if you want, you can go in and kind of blend those in a little bit better. But I think that's part of the look, is having like those selections where you can see it. I think a lot of you guys really like the Hulk video that I had a while back. It seems to be like one of the really popular ones showcasing this kind of technique, and that's just basically how it's done. No real magic to it, just making selections, making a little smaller selection, a little bit smaller selection, a little bit smaller selections, making your colors a little bit brighter. And again, instead of going towards white, you see how it went a little bit more towards orange. in it. You know, just it's going to add more vibrancy to the red. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at actually using it in practice. So this is a page from I had to black everything else out yet because it hasn't been announced, and so I don't want to give away too much. So it's kind of a teaser. It's a piece I'm currently coloring. So we have our flat colors, and let me just I'll start on his hair first. Let's go to my colors and then fit that on a new layer. And you know, same thing. You know, I'll go with a lighter color. He's gonna have some white hair, and I'll just kind of, you know, airbrush it in. You know, kind of like you're sketching it in where your highlights are gonna go. And then I'll just go in with my lasso tool. And at this point, most of it is done. You know, with your shoulder. That's how, you know, you get really quick. If I had a camera, I could show you guys. But my hand isn't resting on the screen. You know, probably like my pinky is resting up against the screen, but it's sliding across it to help, you know, nice fluid selections. And I think that's what helps really sell the look, is just the fluidity of it. You know, if you're here like this, you know, trying to draw like every single little thing, you know, it's not going to look as good. But if you do it like really fast, you know, kind of loose. Then with that same color, you know, I just kind of sketched in my highlight. I'm going to do a little bit more in there. Let me get that looking better. All right. I go up to this bit, and here's a little bit trickier. You just kind of have to remember where your light source is coming from, and don't worry about doing every single little strand. You know, you're just going to go in for basic shapes. And I know when I first started, that was like one of my things. I'd be like, oh, I have to color every little bit, but you don't. You just have to you know, just block in your shapes, and it'll take care of the rest. It sells the illusion of the hair, you know. I'm kind of leaving this area here it's gonna be a little bit darker, because when, you know, the hair is gonna kind of go in to the roots. So you can see I'm kind of going in a little bit more with that same color. It's going to get it to blend really nicely. So it's probably all I'm going to do on the back part here. I don't want to do too much because that's going to be mostly in shadow. You know, if our light source is coming from this way, it's going to be blocked by his head and his ear. So I'm not really worried too much about that. Alright, so there we go. And again, just worried about the bigger overall picture of the hair, not every single little block. Let me go back up a little bit brighter color. So you can see how that's coming together really nicely right there. I like that. Let me do a little bit more here. Oops. And then same. There's a little mustache goatee combo he has going on. So you can see how fast I'm doing my selections. I'm not really, you know, concerned like, oh, is that the right angle? Like, is this little bit here perfect? You know, you'll kill yourself doing that, and you'll never get anything done. Okay, so that's that. Let's go with the eyes and the teeth here. Good thing to remember is that your eyes are never going to be a perfect white. Let me make sure I don't have anything else. A little bit more selecting here. Let me get rid of that. Never going to be, you know, absolutely white. So usually what I'll do is like a lighter skin tone, you know, depending on the environment they're in. But I'll desaturate that and then darken that up a little bit, and that's going to be my dark, you know. So there's going to be like a shadow from the eyelids. So I'll deselect that little bit here, and I'll do the same for down here. And I'll just, again, you know, just go in with the lighter color. And maybe we'll go in just a little bit of white, you know, for the whitest bits. You want to remember the eyeball is gonna be, it's round, it's a sphere. So you want the highlights, you know, the highest part, which is gonna be the part that's closest to you, is gonna be the whitest. And then maybe I'll do, you know, a little bit of edge on his teeth here. You don't want to do too much, because, I mean, remember, this is like, that's just one small bit of the whole page. So you don't want to kill it with too much detail. Everybody always just, your eyes like drawn right to the teeth, like, wow, look how well done those teeth are. I could show you guys examples of my early work where I just went so far overboard in the backgrounds, and then you zoom out, and on the printed cover, like, you can't even see it. It's just so ridiculous. So you want to, you know, spend the time on the important details, and not so much the unimportant stuff. All right, so let's see, what was that? That was his hair. Let's do his shirt here. Or his undershirt, I guess I should say. It's going to be a whitish color too, but, you know, it's going to be different from his hair. In this selection here, I'm taking into account this here is going to be a drop shadow from his tunic, I guess you would call it, that he's wearing over it. So again, lighter color. In this case, that's all I'm going to do because, you know, again, it's not most important part of the piece, so... Then again, I'm leaving out like this little drop shadow bit. Now on here, I might want to go, you know, just a little bit more. Really subtle. And that's going to do it for that. So you can see it's really, really simple. Not crazy amount of detail that I'm doing on here. Maybe we'll kind of darken that up. That looks good against that blue. So like that. So is the other guy still selected? Yeah, I'll do that there. All right. So we got that. And this part here is going to be darker just because of, you know, it's going to be on the inside of the tunic. So that's not, the light isn't going to hit that. We can kind of do the same thing over here on this side just to keep it going with all the, with the black shadow that's drawn right there. And let's pick a lighter color of that. Let's brighten that up. And again, just quick selections with the same color I was just using to kind of sketch that in. Can't really see, it's really subtle. Let me brighten that up for the next one. So you can see that hopefully a little bit better. Oops. And again, I'm just kind of working around the inks, you know, following the shapes that the artwork's telling me to. Let's kind of blend that a little bit more, and that looks pretty good right there. So let's go with the blue. Let me deselect all this other. And I have my canvas rotated a little bit. That's with in Photoshop CS6. I think it was introduced in CS5. I'm not 100% sure, but that's just your if you hit R as a shortcut, it's going to be this little guy down here in your tool palette. And if you want to set it back, just up here at the top, just hit Reset View, and it puts it right back to where it was. But you know, it's kind of like when you're drawing on a piece of paper, you're painting or whatever, you know, you want to move your canvas around to get the best angle. You know, you don't want to really like pick up your tablet and move it around, or your Cintiq. This just makes it a lot easier. So let's see. Let's get a nicer or lighter color, I should say, not nicer, because I do like this color. And I'm going to deselect a little bit of this. Again, just kind of indicating that drop shadow here, and maybe like the ridge of here where the light's not facing it. And yeah, we'll just go across. Oops. Be nice if I was on my color layer. All right, so there we go. Just kind of following it along his shoulder, you know, because that's where the light's going to hit it. Let me rotate this a little bit more here. And just kind of following the folds here. And again, just really quickly, you know, making my selections. Watching out for that edge. And a little lighter color here. I think that looks good right there. Let me just, oops. Let's add that light color here on this other shoulder. And maybe this here should come down more. So I'm going to pick this color here and just kind of fill in the rest of this spot right here. Yeah, I say that looks pretty good. And then what we'll do on the edge of it, just to add interest, you know, we'll add in that that rim light. And for this, I'm just grabbing my dodge tool, just because, you know, I could go in and individually pick each one of these, but I'm just going to do it real quick like that. You don't want to go too crazy with the dodge tool, especially as a beginner, because there are certain colors that just don't dodge well, and they'll get really muddy really quickly. You'll get banding around your colors and everything, and it takes a lot of practice to get used to. So I don't recommend it for beginners, but you know, definitely something you might want to think about adding to your arsenal later on. And now I'm just going to go in and kind of add a rim light to some of these hairs here. Not all of them. Yeah, that looks pretty good right there. So let's see, that's that. Oh, let's do his eyeballs next. No other eyeballs on the page, okay. And let's give him, let's do kind of a greenish color, I guess. Oops. I think that looks pretty good. Now again, I'll just go for a lighter color. Just kind of sketch in first. You know, we're going to put my highlights. And just remember, this is still going to be little rounded guys. They're sitting on top of that, on top of your eyeball there. So I think that looks pretty good. And let me just color this little fleshy bit right here. And I'll add a little bit of red, get some of that little pink color that you have right there. All right, and now for his skin tone. Let me see. I think these guys here will look good. Let me see here. Yeah, let's go with this one. A little bit more red. As you can see, a little bit more red in that color. So I like the way that works off of that shadow, the kind of shadow color that we have going on. So again, just kind of sketching in, you know, it's going to be his lip, you know, cheekbone here. It's kind of sketching in where my highlights are going to go. I don't want to go too overboard. And I will go back in and add the more shadow later. So let's, I usually like starting with the nose. I don't know why. I guess, you know, it's just kind of right there, right in the middle of your face. I guess that's a good point to start, right? Oops. Is that the right color? Yeah, okay. then you want to, there's a ridge right here on your eyelid. So I want to get that little guy in there as well. Oops. Let me put that on its own layer and lock it down. That way there it's a lot easier when I make my selections. I don't have to worry too much about going in and deselecting the other colors. Alright, so now we can get started. And if you remember from our video we had a while back, I think it's on the tips and tricks, we're talking about anatomy and stuff. You know, if you haven't seen that yet, I highly recommend looking at that. That'll help with our modeling of the face. You know, getting the right getting the highlights, you know, in the right spot. And there's no better learning tool than practice. You know, I get it from, you know, my coworkers. You know, how do you get so fast with Photoshop? It's like, well, I use Photoshop every day. You know, even my day job, you know, I use it, and then when I'm not working on work stuff, I'm doing this stuff for you guys, or, you know, coloring commissions, and, you know, I'm still in Photoshop. And, you know, it's always nice to, if you really love it, to, you know, to be able to do it every day. Let's get this brow going here. The light's gonna hit that pretty good. Oops. So you can see it's starting to really come together here. And hopefully this is going to help you guys out. Looks like he has some wrinkles on his neck here. He's an older guy. I don't want to go too much. So yeah, this here is going to be, the light's hitting this right here. You want to do too much of that color down in his neck, just because the neck also kind of helps frame his face. You know, so we don't want to be stuck looking down here. We want to look up here. So I think that's working pretty good so far. Let me get maybe a little bit in here. All right. So we got that going. Maybe tone this down a little bit on the ear. It's looking pretty good. Let's go with our next lighter color here. And again, just building up, you know, lasso after lasso after lasso. Maybe a little highlight on his nose like that. There we go. Nice highlight on his lip. I haven't recorded in a while with everything that was going on with the family. Just not used to talking for this long. My mouth is all dry right now, so excuse me if my voice cracks at some point. All right, let's get this. His head. We're gonna add this other ridge right here. Alright, so that's working for me. Brighter on his cheek. Maybe up here. That's coming up to his eyeball. Same here. Get some light there. A little bit here on this side. The lip, and then of course the light's going to be hitting on the top of his ear. So I think that's looking pretty nice. I'll do a little bit more down here, not too much. So I'm just kind of picking the color from what I had already established down in here. Oops. Let me deselect that and get a new selection going. All right, so now we can let's go in and add some of these darker shadows back in to what we had. So this is going to be dark. That'll be dark. And we'll do a, to show this is rounded, drop shadow, nice little drop shadow from the hair right there. Adds a little bit to it there. Maybe down here as well. And then maybe we'll darken this up a little bit more. And then on the side of the nose, darken it up. Come from the top, it's fine if it fades down like that. That's what we'll do now. To add some interest to it, we'll get a little grayed out color. So it's still kind of in that fleshy type of color, but it has some red in it. It's gonna look nice here. So you could see like very subtle. It's gray, but compared to everything else, it's gonna look, add a little tinge of blue to it. So that's gonna look really nice. And it's just really, really subtle, just adding, a little bit of interest to the shadows. Let me get a little bit on the nostril there. Oops. Then we'll do like down in here in these shadows as well. Again, it's just real subtle. Let's see. A little something. I think that looks good. Maybe on the ridge here, a little highlight. Let me see here. Let me get my original shadow color. Just kind of push that back a little bit more. Yeah, I think that works. So yeah, there you go. Colored a piece, or at least one panel, doing those techniques. Usually what I might do as well, let me flatten that down. Let's see what happens if we try and punch up this orange a little bit more. Now you can see, trying to use the dodge tool on it, and you see it just turns to crap really fast. So nah, we'll leave that out, and that's fine. We'll just leave it subtle highlights on the orange right there. But yeah, you can see how it all shakes down. If you want, you can go, if you want like an even brighter source of light, you can, continue to work on it, putting in more highlights. But that's the basics, not a whole lot of magic to it, just learning the technique and practicing the hell out of it. You get this, and again, not getting caught up in the small little details. Yeah, maybe we could do a specular highlight here on his forehead. There you go. Not kind of like that. I'm going to have to go in and do all the rest of it. Yeah, there you go. Oops. I made a group. There we go. Yeah, I think that works pretty good. Make that one a little bit better. But yeah, you can see it in practice, and hopefully that helps you guys out. I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here, though. Looks like I'm back on track now. What I'm going to try and do is try and build up like a little backlog. That way, if something happens in the future, I can have videos on hand that I could post up whenever I need to. But if you have any suggestions for other videos, please let me know. Really appreciate it. Helps me out, letting me know what you guys want to see, and that way there I'm just not showing you guys stuff is like, oh, I already know how to do that, or you're not interested in. I want to help you guys learn and everything, and so that helps. If you like what you see, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, please do, and thank you so much to everybody that has already. Really means a lot. And I guess that's it, and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot for watching. All right, bye.